Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show, Mr. Fred Lamkey, is the superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools. Good morning, Mr. Lamkey. How are you, sir?
Morning, Seth. I'm surviving allergy season right now.
Oh, my gosh. It's crazy this year. I feel like all this rain is just messing with us. I don't know why, but I was telling you in the break, and you were telling me, gosh, everything is just fighting allergies this spring. I feel like I've been fighting it since, I don't know, start of March maybe.
Yeah, I tell you, I got up this morning. I talked to Alexa and said, what's the allergy outlook for the day? And he said it's only moderate. And I thought, boy, if this is moderate, the rest of my month's going to be pretty rough.
Well, we hope it goes away soon. I don't know. It's just been a crazy spring with the allergies. And I know you were talking about your routine of medicines and such. I just cannot. Whatever I'm doing, it just wasn't working for me. So I stopped, and it actually got a little better, to be quite honest with you. Ironically enough.
Yeah, I actually, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I started taking medicine for my allergies, and I tried getting off it in the wintertime, and I found that allergies were rolling right back. So I'm a full-time now.
Interesting stuff. Well, Mr. Lamkey, you and I cannot believe this. I actually thought about this morning as I was getting ready. You and I are down to our last few visits on the morning show like this. How's it feeling to be getting close to retirement?
You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked that this year, and my answer is always the same. That it doesn't feel any different right now. It really doesn't, because it's business as usual. We have things we have to get done. And any retirees I've talked to, they said about the middle of August, when everybody else is going back to school and you're not, is when it really starts to sink into retired educators.
Yep.
Like I said, right now it's business as usual.
Well, when do your kids exit the premises for the summer? When's their last day?
Well, the seniors were done Friday, and they will graduate next Sunday. Okay. Our 8th graders go out, I believe, Wednesday this week, and then they have promotion ceremony on Friday. But the rest of the students, it'll be the Friday before Memorial Day.
Okay.
So it's rapidly coming. We got a couple quick weeks here before we get to the end of the year.
Well, what are some of the important dates to keep an eye on, Mr. Lamkey? You got any events or anything coming up that your kids are going through right now?
Yeah, most certainly. We have on Friday afternoon, this Friday afternoon, May 17th, 3 p.m., we have our 8th grade promotion ceremony. And our 8th graders, it's a pretty informal ceremony, but we go through and we honor the student awards and things like that for the 8th grade class. And then they will have a big dance party afterwards put on by their parents. So that's kind of their kick going to high school. And then we just had baccalaureate last night. And then on Sunday, the 19th at 3 p.m., we have our high school graduation. And it's always a well-attended event. The 1963 gym at Mount Pulaski High School will be jam-packed, and it's looking to be a very typical graduation day. I see high humidity and 85 degrees.
You guys got air conditioning in that building yet?
Yes, since I've been here, we've had air conditioning, and I've been through some really hot graduations other places without it, so I'm very grateful.
That was always the joke not that long ago, was if you didn't have air conditioning in the gym, high school graduation could be a real bear.
Yes, without a doubt. Some of the hottest days of my life, I think, have been dressed up with lights on me in front of about 1,200 people.
Yep, very good, very good. Any other dates to keep an ear out or eye out for there, Mr. Lamkey in Mount Pulaski?
Well, we're hoping our baseball team's going to be playing in a regional championship come this Friday. So that's coming up. I know our softball team's in the same boat that plays with Tri-City Sangamon Valley. So they've got some high aspirations for postseason. Beyond that, though, we've had our awards nights. It's just kind of starting to kind of level off for us here as we kind of come into Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. Very good. Well, when it comes to Mr. Lamkey, you kind of winding down your time in Mount Pulaski, what's coming to mind for you? What do you have to take care of as you hand the reins over? You know, what's been on your plate lately in your transition?
Well, I've been doing a lot of collaborating with my successor, Jason Spang. Jason's been just outstanding to work with so far. He's in district once a month with me, where he's meeting with board members, he's meeting with community members, he's working with me on the finances, with Kathy Shantz. We're all just kind of getting ready so he can hit the ground running. And I felt like I was pretty prepared when I came to Mount Pulaski, but Mr. Spang, the guy's sitting into all of our committee meetings through phone calls. He's not just listening, he's a participant. So he's going to be at an even better place than I was, because he's just going to have a much better grip on what's going on in our district. And I think that's a little hats off to Paytone for giving him the opportunity to make that transition too.
Sure.
In the high school that he works at right now, he just finished up prom last weekend. He's got graduation coming up. So he's got a very busy time of the year for him as well.
Well, talk to me, Mr. Lamkey. What has him so prepared? You mentioned you thought you were pretty well prepared stepping into the role. What have you done to make him, even more prepared than maybe you were? How about that?
Well, he's taken nothing for granted. I've sent him all of my committee meeting minutes so he can go back over and read them. He's been looking over board summaries from board meetings. He has our finances. He's just been in depth on everything, and he asks very insightful questions. And again, I know anytime you're a first year superintendent, you're stepping into that job. Talking about it's one thing, living it's another. So I know there's going to be some things that could be overwhelming to him once he gets going, but it's not going to be from lack of preparation. That the guy's done a great job with all those things. And I think the bigger part is that where I was kind of a mystery when I came in on July 1st in 2019. He's going to be a known factor because he's been in classrooms. He's been able to take time to get into the district and let people get to know him. So
you kind of beat me. You kind of beat me to the punch on that one, Mr. Lamkey. I was going to ask, is he able to get into the hallways and talk with teachers, maybe interact with a student or two here and there? What's that been like? How have you been able to make that happen?
Yeah, he's been out there, and Jason's just that type of personable person too. He wants to get out there and meet people. He's I think one thing that really attracted him to our teachers when he interviewed is the fact that he is a principal, and he's still really tied to the students and the teachers, and he does a great job making those connections. So, and I was a 5-year superintendent vet when I got here. Not to say that I didn't have contact with our teachers, but he's in the trenches living it right now, and he does a really good job with that.
Very good. Well, look forward to his transition. What's kind of the last few lessons or things you have for him as you step out and he steps in, Mr. Lamkey?
Boy, I tell you, it's just the handing over those reins. He's going to be sitting in at our June board meeting. He's going to be at the table with us. In the past, he's just kind of sat in the room. So kind of taking those responsibilities over. He's having phone calls with board members right now over issues and topics that, we're going to be addressed with. We're doing pre-construction meetings for our high school renovation. We have that $1.5 million renovation this summer, and he's in on all of those. So I really think it's just kind of a slow transition of giving him the reins. I'm trying to get out of the office for him as shortly. A lot of things got to happen. I've got 5 years of funk in my office, so I'd like the custodians to kind of put some fresh paint on the walls and get an extra good cleaning for it so he can hit the ground running even before the July 1st hits.
Uh-huh.
But it's just a gradual release of responsibility now. We've been talking about things, and he's going to be in charge of the budget this year. Mrs. Shantz and I have kind of taken it so far, but in the month of July, then he's going to have to sit down and work the numbers and get things ready for the upcoming school year.
Gotcha. Very good. Again, that's Mr. Fred Lamkey, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, our guest on the Zoom call here on this Monday. Mr. Lamkey, as you and I catch up here for this morning, what pieces of business do you have to take care of? Is there anything kind of on your plate here in the next month or two that you're going to have to take care of yourself before you can exit the premises and hand the reins over? How about that?
I think just making sure this construction project gets off to a good start. And to me, that's the biggest thing, because that's the same thing's going to happen here. I came in July 1st and we had started our high school construction on June 1st. Mm-hmm. And so Jason walking into the same scenario. So just making sure that he's ready for that. But I've been kind of I don't want to say sidestepping. I've been kind of stepping back on a lot of things. And the decisions aren't mine to make anymore.
Right.
And not that they ever were mine to make, but I want to make sure that people are getting what they want out of it. They ask, what's your opinion? I'm like, well, mine doesn't really matter as much anymore. It's what do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And I think it's those type of things, just kind of changing the approach that we're taking to doing school improvement. But the fortunate thing is that we have those building leadership teams. I have an established administrative staff. So I don't really think we're going to miss much of a step when Jason steps in.
Now, remind me what you have liked, and as you've come to get to know him more, what have you come to learn about him that he's going to bring to Mount Pulaski that the community, the staff, the students are going to like? What does he bring to the table that is going to be good for the district?
He's such a genuine person. Early on, just getting to know him was very easy to do. And what I love about him is that he has this drive to do things right and not to try and take the short route. But, if it requires work, he's willing to put that in. But he cares about kids. And again, I think that's that great piece you get out of a principal stepping into the superintendent's office. They are still so connected to teachers and kids. And I think that's going to be a really nice plus for the district as we keep moving forward. He's going to be bringing students. He's going to have 4 children. He's going to be bringing into our district. They've already bought a house in Elkhart. And so he's going to be very connected. His wife, Lauren, is going to be working in our district, doing some intervention work with elementary students. So they're going to be tied in right from the beginning. And I think those things are going to really endear him to Mount Pulaski and the Elkhart communities.
Yeah, I've got a friend that has been able to speak with him and has gotten to know him a little bit, and was told he's just going to be a really good guy for the district. It sounds like so. There's a lot of buy-in there. A lot of people really like him, and I think it's a good choice there in Mount Pulaski.
I think so too, and I think that's been a nice piece that we could have him hired in December. And he spends the next 6 months getting to know people. And he's been so proactive in that. And I honestly feel that sometimes you think you want to get somebody with more experience, but sometimes having a new guy and a fresh set of eyes coming in, which is something I've said all along, go ahead and retire this old guy out of the business and get some new ideas in there. And I think there's a lot to benefit from that for the district too. He's been closer to the classroom and working with teachers and being a teacher himself. I haven't been in a classroom now for 27 years. And I think that's an advantage for him that he's a little closer tied to that. I think he'll do a really good job leading our instruction.
Well, Mr. Lamkey, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here, come back with some more. Remind us, how do we follow along with all things Mount Pulaski schools? Where do we go? How do we do that?
Our high school and elementary school have some great web pages, so make sure you search those out on Facebook. Our Facebook pages, and then you can always get us at the web at www.mountpulaski.k12.il.us, and then athletic director ATHDIR on Twitter. Keep you up with our baseball and softball teams and our track teams this spring and see how they're doing.
That is Mr. Fred Lamkey, superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, my guest on the phone for today. More to come with Mr. Lamkey coming up on the morning show.
How do I do names?
WHOW.
Clinton High School will present diplomas to their graduating seniors during their traditional graduation ceremony at the high school gym on Sunday, May 19th at 2 p.m. WHOW's many platforms on air at 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com. on the WHOW mobile app. And Amazon Alexa will broadcast this special event live. Tune in and listen as the names of this year's Clinton High School graduating seniors are read and their diplomas are given out. Brought to you by Kirby Foods, located at 220 East Van Buren in Clinton, proudly supporting the Clinton 2024 graduates. ServPro in Piatt and DeWitt County, your fire and restoration specialists, like it never even happened. And Liberty Village, located at 1 Park Lane West in Clinton, simply the finest in retirement living.
If you're looking for a healthcare provider that truly cares about you and your family's well-being, the SIU Center for Family Medicine is now accepting new patients. They're available to help you live your healthiest life. Regular checkups with a healthcare provider can be the key to a healthier you. Take charge of your health and join their caring community of patients. Call 217-735-2317 or click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to schedule your first appointment. At the SIU Center for Family Medicine, they're not just your healthcare providers, they're your partners in wellness.
Education is one of the keys to a successful future. None of the problems facing society today can be solved unless all our people continue to learn. Today, we offer our salute to a group of young people who have demonstrated their ability to learn and to move ahead in the world. The new graduates of our community, the class of 2024.
Brought to you by Dragonfly Treasures in Monticello, says best wishes and good luck to the graduates of the class of 2024.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom call today, Mr. Fred Lamkey, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools. And Mr. Lamkey, as we get down the stretch here, you mentioned kids getting out of the building and some summer work going on. Remind us what that $1.5 million renovation is going to entail this summer.
We're going to be doing putting some new windows in to finish out our high school. We have a new roofing section we have to put in also to get us up to date. But then we're going to be spending a lot of money and some time on our science and our lab classrooms in the 1963 building there. A lot of original material going all the way back to 1963. So we're going to get things updated in Mount Pulaski and give us a better work environment for our kids. And then there's some general flooring things we're going to be working throughout the building. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't sound like a lot when you kind of lay it out like that, but it's there's a good amount of work that has to get done before August comes around. So
yeah.
A lot of hustle.
Well, talk to me, Mr. Lamkey, about what and this may be something that happens after your time at Mount Pulaski, but does your Board of Education have a plan to analyze and evaluate its facilities after all this is done? I know this has been kind of an ongoing process for you all to get to where you're at right now. How about that?
Yeah. We've had so much catch up to play in Mount Pulaski because our buildings really were aging. We did a 2006 addition to the high school, but before that, it had been years since we'd done anything. Right now, we've hired our architect Graham and Hyde to come in, and they are our architect firm. Rather, Kevin Handy is our architect, and they're looking at our grade schools, seeing what construction and renovation could look like there in the future. Looking at building a track and adding on our athletic complex out at Veterans Park. So we've got a lot of things like that. They're just kind of in a hopper, but we're trying to develop that vision for where we're going to go. Lately, we've just had so many things we need to repair, we need to catch up on. And now we're kind of back to the point where we're maybe 10 years ago with our high school that we're like, okay, this is more than just renovation. This is overhaul at our grade school. And we're trying to get a good plan for that so we know what that's going to look like and how it's going to fit with our finances and how we move forward. So that's a big piece that the board's going to have to figure out over the summer and into the fall. We hope to have like building diagrams and the ideas of how we want to revamp. There's been meeting with teachers, surveys, all kinds of things done to find out what our current needs are. And we should have that back around Thanksgiving time.
Well, surely you've never heard this before, and definitely not from me, but you know what you all need is just new buildings. That's just the fact of the matter, Mr. Lamkey.
I tell you, you talk to my board president, Eric Cowan, he would just like to bring a bulldozer in and start all over. But, when you're the custodians of the district's resources, you got to do what's best for the district and the taxpayers. So while a bulldozer seems like a great idea, the structure of those buildings are really good. And our architect's really confident that we can come in there and do a renovation, and it'll feel and look like a new buildings for us.
No doubt. Yep. It's unfortunate. We live in a world where we have to live within certain constraints. We can't just pull money off the tree, right?
Yeah. And I was just talking with some construction firm that's based out of Frisco, Texas, and that community in Frisco, Texas, has grown by. It was a community of 2,000 people back around 1990, and today it's a community of 220,000 people.
Oh my, holy cow!
It's headquarters of the Dallas Cowboys. They went from a high school and a grade school to they have 78 school buildings in Frisco, Texas now, including 12 high schools. So it's funny when you see the growth, you just can't even imagine where does that money come from when we're just trying to save enough money that we can do some renovations at our grade school. And I feel like Mount Pulaski's in good financial shape. I just can't imagine the finances and what they go through there. So that's a good thing to see the relativity of what we have in front of us and what they have in front of them.
Well, we just need a professional sports franchise in Logan County. That's the message I heard out of all that.
Barry Jones to build something here, I think it wouldn't hurt a thing.
Oh, very good. Mr. Lamkey, I am disappointed. Like I said, we're embarking on one of our final talks here together. I know we'll stay in touch beyond the morning show here, but just in the meantime, where do folks go to follow along with all things Mount Pulaski Schools and keep up with the transition and all the things that are to come there in the district? Where do they go?
Again, go ahead and like our pages on Facebook. We have the grade school and high school both have their Facebook pages. We have a great website at www.montpulaski.k12.il.us. And then on Twitter, you can always find us at ATHDIR, and that's our athletic director. He'll keep you up on everything that has anything to do with Hilltopper, Bruin, and Honey Bear Sports.
That is Mr. Fred Lamkey, Superintendent of Mount Pulaski Schools, my guest. Network News.